What is up, my dogs? It's your boy, the Iceman. Let me know in the comments below how you dogs have been doing. Now, are you looking forward? The fuck? Look at this, the bitch is glitched.
Good day.
If the little rogue from D1 approached you right now in a very consensual sort of manner, would you bury your face in dead ass? Let me know in the comments below. Now, Diablo 4, I know y'all's been speculating in shit. So has Ice Boy, right? Like, we scared and shit that it ain't the Blizzard it used to be, you know what I'm saying? Blizzard North or whatever, ain't that what it was? Who made Diablo 2? They all gone in shit. So they don't seem to mention Diablo 2 much in these Diablo 4 news updates and so forth, but I think they actually did in this current one, all right? And as some of you might suspect, Iceboy does have some reservations on this shit. I'm a bit concerned that it's not going to live up to D2. Who the hell isn't concerned about that? Because what are the chances it's going to, right? Just the simplification of things so toddlers can pick up the game and play it, and putting other things over gameplay and story, etc., which seems to be a very modern way of making video games, similar to movies and videos, etc., but could be off on that, man. Let me know if there's any like good games that have come out over the past, say, 5 to 10 years. Are there any toad as fuck games? Comment below if there are such, all right? But yeah, we all be speculating and shit. And here's what happened. Diablo, or Blizzard, they posted this several days ago now, the quarterly update thing. And they go over some shit, okay? The skill tree. They go over some stuff regarding the skill tree and primary stats. This is a step in the right direction, right? Who the fuck would disagree with that? Look at this. Strength, intelligence, willpower, and other things. Look at that. Now, some of you might know Iceboy wanted this big time because that vastly took away the customization of your character in Diablo 3, for example, when they didn't have this stuff. So I think it's going to be 5 points for level, right? Oh, and they get plus 2 skill points maybe per level? I don't know. But that's a great thing, because at level 22, your character could be different from another character who's level 22, and so on, right? It adds for customization, so I think that's a great way to go, man. I'm pleased that they did that. I'm kind of surprised, actually. I'm quite surprised, because I didn't think that shit was going to happen. I recommended they do that in the video several months back. I know others have as well. I don't know if I like the attack so much, because I like the range that we have in Diablo 2, where, I mean, you guys know how it is. Oh, fuck. Let's get it out. See? Just the range of your damage, you know? 243 to 467, because there's room for interpretation. If you want to be a pro, you got to do some math and shit. You got to start getting some averages and shit. And there are other items that have a very high maximum damage, but a very low minimum damage. And then there are items that are somewhere in between. So you have to interpret such things. You know, it added an element of interpretation. And if you wanted to go forth and pump the numbers yourself, you could. But it wasn't just all drawn out for you. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Do you prefer the range and damage like what we get in D2? Or do you like the other thing? Oh, fuck. What the fuck? Oh, fuck. Just a minute. I'll be right back. But maybe that's not a huge deal. Okay, so they say that we agreed with your feedback that too much of a character's power came from the items they wore, and we liked the imagery conjured by the phrases angelic power and demonic power, but they didn't reinforce the fantasy of what being a barbarian, a sorcerer, or a droid is all about. So we went back to our roots and looked at the classic RPG elements of early Diablo games. What are you really doing when you wade through a horde of monsters and emerge a level higher on the other side? You're training, you're practicing a skill, you're getting better at what you do, becoming stronger and smarter. So yeah, when you gain a level, you receive points, and I think that's a good way to go, man. I'm glad that they did that. Weapon types. Oh yeah, I think I read about this actually. How they're making the magic items viable again, because some folks don't know this, but in Diablo 3, for example, it ended up being the only items that were good were legendary items or set items, or of course improved legendary items like the Ancients and Primals, which were the same fucking thing just with higher stats. And nobody wanted that sort of itemization in Diablo 2, right? Let me know in the comments below if you wanted that dumb as fuck mechanic. But yeah, not many folks wanted that because it just added to the chase of finding the same fucking item that just had bigger numbers on it. And the allure, I think, of Diablo 2 was you weren't just looking for the same damn item with bigger numbers on it. You were busting your ass to get an item that had game-changing mechanics on it. Like Infinity, for example. Here I am playing Project Diablo 2, right? The modded version of Diablo 2, one of the mods. And you can bust your ass on there, man. You can play several hours a day for months, and you still haven't found yourself the runes to make Infinity with, which is a toad as fuck endgame item that breaks lightning immunities, for example. In far less occasions, however, it'll break cold and fire as well. But yeah, it's great for lightning immunities, you know what I mean? So you could all of a sudden, after finding the runes to make this item, you can make that shit, and you have a lightning character, right? And I hope that these things matter in Diablo 4, that they have immunities, because it added an element of strategy. You know, we had to think in shit and be like, well, I could make a lightning character and they could be godly as fuck in their lightning damage. But when I get to hell mode, there's a lot of monsters who are lightning immune. So I could, rather than being a master of lightning, I could be pretty damn good at lightning and also good with some fire skills, so I could burn the toad out of enemies who are immune to lightning. Or if I get an item like Infinity, for example, by busting my ass, I could break a lot of those lightning immunities, and all of a sudden, when you're in hell and you have a lightning character, you can start farming areas that you weren't able to farm before with your lightning character. You know what I'm saying? This shit's important, dog. It adds to strategy and it adds to godliness, man. This adds to godliness. And it's a big opening all of a sudden when you find that Infinity. Because not only are you breaking some light immunes, you're also piercing the shit out of the lightning resistances that enemies possess. So that's a great way to go, man. And that's why the chase is important, to have super rare things that aren't only more rare because they have slightly higher stats than the items you already have. Because then you're playing the same way as you always have, only the numbers are a little bigger that are popping up in front of the screen and when you're killing enemies and such. So we don't just want the numbers to get a little bigger for the endgame chase. You know what I mean? Like in Diablo 3, we want game-changing things to occur where all of a sudden your character's having like a thunderstorm around them and they can and lightning zap shit while they walk by it. You know what I mean? Like items that have those sort of possessions to them, like a fucking thunderstorm aura and shit. It's just an idea, all right? But yeah, that would be toad to have something like that on a barbarian or a druid, where he has the thunderstorm aura from some godly as fuck unique helmet or something that's super rare. Who knows, man? And I hope that they have rune words in Diablo 4. And I know the runes have been announced, but I don't know if those just augment your legendary items or what. But I think rune words would be important because there ain't nothing like chasing after them high runes to make a godly as fuck item. Because then you gotta be like a squirrel and shit. You gotta hoard them roots, them runes like little nuts. You know what I mean? Like if you're a half-wit or something, as soon as you find a good rune, you'll just trade it off, right? But if you're a clever little squirrel, if you have a strategy in place of wanting to make a godly rune word somewhere down the road, you'd hoard them runes like little nuts. You know what I mean? So those who are willing to save up them nuts later in the game can be godly as fuck. I mean, there's something to be had, of course, in trading off the runes. It's all to do with priorities, right? So it depends on your priorities, dog. But I think them rune words are important. I hope that they add that shit in the game. Let me know in the comments below. We've also made some exciting changes to the game's item qualities. Philosophically, we like the clarity of analysis afforded by clearly understood item tiers. In other words, we think players of all skill levels benefit from not having to scrutinize every single item that drops to see if it might be an upgrade for them. Blue magic items are good, but yellow rares are usually better. There's a great feeling of progression when you graduate into items with greater complexity, more powerful effects, and cooler looks as you level up. And the game-changing powers found in the legendary items in Diablo 3 are exciting and offer many possible effects that just aren't possible with regular affixes. That said, we don't want to end up in a place where the right decision is to ignore every item that doesn't have a glowing orange sky beam. This is damn important. It's like what I was talking about before, how all of a sudden in Diablo 3, toward the later part of the game, the only items that matter are the green items and the legendary items, all of which have a beam, signaling them from the sky. Magics and rares had no use other than collecting them to salvage them into crafting materials. That was it. Whereas in Diablo 2, you had some amulets that could give, say, 3 to all elemental skills that were magic and blue, and you couldn't find that level of skills added on any other item type. Rares could get +2, uniques would get +2 skills. So if you wanted to be an absolute god in terms of your elemental skills, you might want to get that elemental skills magic amulet and maybe even try to augment it with something. You know what I'm saying? So your endgame item could be a magic item in that case. And as we all know, there were godly as fuck rare items in Diablo 2. And the thing about rares is that they had more item affixes and suffixes than the magic items. So they had that going for them. Whereas the legendaries, or uniques rather, which I prefer to call them, right, would have special effects. So they all had their benefits, man. It was so fucking toad. And it sounds like they're attempting to go in this direction. So this is great news, right? Let me know in the comments below what you dogs think about this. We're increasing the potential power of an individual affixes on magic items. We're increasing the maximum number of affixes on rare and better items in the endgame. Legendary affixes now roll randomly on legendary items, and unique items will replace mythics. So I don't really know what this means exactly. Legendary affixes now roll randomly. So in Diablo 2, for example, like Mage Fist gives 1 to fire skills. Does that mean you could get that affix on any fucking legendary in the game? Or what does that mean? Or is there a difference from the affixes and the suffixes? Maybe the suffixes are the special abilities. I don't know what this means, man. Explain that in the comments below. But nonetheless, it sounds like they're heading in the right direction, man. So this is great news. I mean, they're adding the stat points per level, which is great news in Ice Dog's opinion. And they're making magics and rares special again, right? Because they wasn't special in Diablo 3, and everyone knows that. No one gave a fuck about the blue and yellow items. It just became a chase. You had to pick them up similarly to how you had to pick up gold, because you could just use them for crafting materials and currency, and that is it, man. But yeah, if you guys will like this damn video, hit the thumbs up button. I might elaborate on this stuff a little bit more in future videos, so stay tuned for that. Perhaps become a patron if you want. What the fuck? And I'll talk to you dogs later. The fuck? Peace be with you.